Justice Minister Ronald Lamola says the authorities in Eswatini are cooperating well with the South African National Public Prosecuting Authority with regards to extraditing 2 suspects linked to AKA's murder. Now, the minister has also responded to criticism that his department has failed to conclude the extradition process of both Malawian self-proclaimed prophet Shepherd Bushiri and the 2 Gupta brothers who fled to the UAE. Let's get more details now and speak to SABC News International Editor Sophie Mokoena. Thank you so much also for your time. I mean, I was looking at that interview that you were doing with the minister and how pressing you were, especially when it comes to some of the extradition processes and how others have fallen flat and what makes this one different. And we wonder then, why is the department taking so long to file extradition papers for the 2 suspects in Eswatini, and we're only getting confirmation today?
Well, I think I had to ask those hard questions because you know that there was a case of Bushiri, there was a case of the Guptas, and even today those matters are still pending. And therefore, with this one, the new one, the question is how confident is government that they will be able to bring the 2 people back to South Africa to face the law, and therefore I had to ask those questions. But looking at the delay, I did ask the minister why it took so long for them to just present papers in relation to the extradition. As you know that they've done this before, and therefore there's capacity and there are skills within the department to quickly put together the documents. As you know that on issues of extradition, it's law, and therefore the Department of Justice will deal with that. He pointed out that they wanted to do a proper work so that they don't have challenges. And also he pointed out that as we speak now, they are on track, and the officials from the Department of Justice are currently in Eswatini, and we're looking forward to see what will transpire tomorrow in court. But also the other issue for me was why the extradition, because it takes long. And we were told by the authorities in Eswatini that the 2 entered the country illegally. And when you enter a country illegally, it's much better when you use or evoke deportation, because the authorities in Eswatini can just hand over the 2 people just outside the border in the South African territory, like it has been done previously with deportation from South Africa to other countries of citizens of foreign national. And therefore, he pointed out that that was not going to be what South Africa could have requested or do. Let's take a listen at what Minister Lamola had to say about the issue of deportation, which could have been much easier.
If they had broken laws and whatever, it's the country of Eswatini that needs to decide whether they want to deport people that are in their country illegally or not. Ourselves, in terms of our processes, we have to follow what the Extradition Act says in terms of people who have left our country and that are wanted who are in another country. It is the responsibility of the receiving country. If they want to deport whoever, it's unwanted, and that could have been decided by the state of Eswatini.
Sophie, the matter of Shepherd Bushiri as well is another challenge for the NP. I mean, what was the minister's response to the delays?
Well, I am aware that there has been court processes in Malawi. It's very difficult because we don't have anyone to report on that matter in Malawi. But we know that the matter is before the court. And therefore, we know that in the process, different hearings, there were times where Bushiri was able to score some victories, and also, on the other hand, South Africa doing the same. We know that there was a team from South Africa in Malawi recently to give evidence because they were requested to do so. And the minister is saying no matter how long it takes, they are going to follow the law to the letter to ensure that they use all international means available for South Africa to bring Bushiri back into the country. And he is confident that they will continue with this process. It is taking long. It's not easy because it is a country with its own laws, and South Africa, being desperate to get him back to account, but you cannot not follow the laws of a particular country where a person is at the moment or at the time when you want him back into South Africa. And therefore, he explained the process that is unfolding in Malawi and also what's likely going to happen in May. Let's take a listen at what has happened thus far and what's happening in May.
We have scored significant legal victories in Malawi through the extradition issues that Mr. Bushiri and his co-accused, his wife, had raised points in Malawi. They have succeeded in some matters, but as per majority of judgments, we have succeeded in Malawi, and you'll be aware that...
When is he coming to South Africa?
Yeah, if you allow me to conclude the question, to answer the question. Firstly, you will be aware that the NPA and the officials of the Department of Justice were in Malawi last week to testify on the extradition process. Unfortunately, it could not be concluded because of reasons that are known to the other party, Bushiri himself. You are aware we were there, we were ready, and we are ready again on the date the matter has been postponed to, which is in May. Our officials and the NPA will be in Malawi ready to testify, ready to bring him back to our country. So once that has been concluded, the magistrate will make a decision that he is extraditable to South Africa, wherein the Minister of Justice in Malawi will therefore sign the certificate to bring him to our country or not sign it on whatever reasons. So we will await that outcome. We have decided that we will follow the matter through to its logical conclusion, and once that is concluded, he will definitely be coming back to South Africa to account.
And talking about issues of accountability, there seems to be no movement, Sophie, on the Guptas. What's the problem?
Well, as you are aware, the other issue is the Gupta brothers. You know that as we speak now, there are concerns that after the state capture, nothing is happening. Very few people were mentioned, and some of them have appeared in court, and these are long processes in court. But the main culprits, the two Gupta brothers, South Africa is still trying to bring them back to the country. And we know that they have engaged the United Arab Emirates. But for me, what was breaking news is that the minister was very clear that the United Arab Emirates is not cooperating with South Africa. And therefore, if the country is not cooperating, it's unlikely that this process will be concluded in time or perhaps anytime soon. But also the other issues is that you would recall at some point in time, the Minister of Home Affairs, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, pointed out that they are using South African documents, the passports. And the question is why? And at that time, the minister had promised that processes are going to start to ensure that those documents are nullified and they can't continue to evade law using the documents of the very same country that is trying to get them back to the country to account, because they are South African citizens and they are using those documents even though that citizenship was obtained in a illegal means or in a dubious means. And therefore, Minister Lamola said the matter of them continuing to use South African documents and claiming to be South African citizens, if they are still doing that, it is not what he can deal with. Let's take a listen at what he had to say about the Gupta brothers.
That is for the Minister of Home Affairs to respond to. On our side, we continue to engage with the central authority in the UAE, and I can state that the NPA was supposed to be engaging with the prosecutors in the UAE to enable us to resubmit the extradition request, because as you are aware, we have not yet been given the reasons why the first one did not succeed. We can submit the one we have, but if we are not told why it did not succeed, we will be fishing in the sea, which will be a most difficult thing. So they need to tell us what were the issues, because from our side, we believe everything was compliant, it was done. So we have sent a lot of questions. They were supposed to meet with the NPA, and the meeting did not happen from their side. And we're even saying it can even be done virtually. So up to this stage, I can state that there is no cooperation from the UAE in regards to helping the NPA to resubmit the extradition request.
Well and good, Bongiwe, with all these treaties that we are part of at international level. But at the end of the day, for South Africans, they want to see those treaties working. And therefore, if other countries are not cooperating, then South Africans will ask questions. Why are we still part of these agreements, particularly in relation to Interpol that is supposed to help us, but also those treaties, particularly in relation to extradition. But countries have their own rules, and it's very difficult. When a person has left the country, it's very, very difficult to bring that person back to South Africa if that particular country is not assisting the law enforcement agencies. But the reality is, how did they escape? Where was the law enforcement agency when they left?
And it's going to be a very interesting and important questions, especially because they've been asked over time, but still very little answers coming. And right now, again, they're hoping to resuscitate this process, but if they don't even know the reasons why the process was not successful, then it begs the question, what strategy are they using going forward? But let's see then what becomes of that particular story. That's Sophie Mokoena, SABC International News Editor. Bring us up to speed about some of the extradition issues.